Hello, welcome to this video. In this particular video, you are going to learn how to make a leaf, and you're going to be coding it. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the interface before we jump into everything. So if you look on the left-hand side, this is going to be what we're going to be using in order to create what we need. So the first thing on here is shapes, and when we click on that, it shows us the shape area. When we click on the purple area, it's going to give us the purple blocks. This is the modify area. This orange color is for control. If we need to repeat something, we can use these blocks. If we want to use some basic math, we can use these green blocks. If we want to use an object later to do something else, maybe for a pattern, it's going to show up under the data area, which is below the math. Right now we don't have anything, but it'll show up down here. The last thing is markup. That's where we get a comment block to help us keep track of what we're making. So the first block we're going to need is going to be a modify block. And the one we're going to need from the modify block area is called create new object. So you want to drag it over and let go. We want to name this leaf. So I'm going to go here to the upside down triangle, click rename variable, and I'm going to type in leaf. The next thing is to add in a comment. So I'm going to click on markup, and I'm going to drag a comment underneath my leaf. And I'm going to type in create a leaf by using 3 shapes. So now I remember what I'm doing, and if somebody else looks at it, they'll know what I'm doing as well. It may seem a little simple now, but when you make things that are more complex, you'll appreciate it. So now the next thing we're going to do is we need to get a shape to help us start making this leaf. So I'm going to go back to shapes, and I'm going to look for a heart shape. I'm going to drag that over here like so. And I'm going to press play so that I can see it show up on my work plane. There it is. I can zoom in if I'm on an iPad by using 2 fingers and using a gesture to zoom in and zoom out, or I can press these buttons here. Okay. So this looks like a good start. I want to change my camera so that it's flat and I don't see the edges of the heart. So I'm going to click right here. And then I'm going to go to the top. So you want to make sure that it looks nice and flat and you can't see the sides. Okay? The next thing we want to do is we want to go back to modify, and then we want to get a rotate block because we want to rotate the heart so that it's going to be flipped upside down, and that'll help us get the shape that we're looking for. But before I do that, I want to change this heart to a green color. Even though we might see brown leaves during the fall, I want to stick with green for right now. So I'm going to click green, press play, and then you see it's green, but then it rotated in a different way. And we don't want it that way. So I'm going to change this from X to Z and from 90 to 180. 180 degrees. So when I press play again, it's flipped upside down just the way we want it. Now this is looking better, but I want to change this so that it looks a little bit more like the leaf that I'm looking for. So I'm going to get a different block called scale, and that allows you to stretch things in order to make them bigger or smaller. So there's 3 different ways we can change the leaf. And for right now, we want to change all of them. So we're going to change, actually, we're only going to stick with 2 for right now. I think 2 is good enough. So we want to stretch it on the Y, and the Y moves up and down. So I'm going to make this 1.5 instead of 1. And I want to make this thinner on the Z. This is our Z that shows how thick it is. So I'm going to change that from 1 to 0.2 because we don't need it to be that thick. So I'm going to press play, and now we see our new shape. I want to make a couple more changes. Right now this is underneath our work plane, which is this black line here. We want it to be right on the line. So we're going to move this to get this exactly the way we want it. So I'm going to get some more blocks. So I'm going to start by getting a move block. And we want to move this up 1 millimeter on the Z-axis. I'm going to press 1 and play. And now it's right there on the work plane. Great. So I'm happy with how this looks so far. But we're not done yet. We need a few more shapes. So I'm going to go back to shapes, and I'm going to grab a cylinder, and I'm going to drag that underneath. Change the color to match the green that I already have. And now you can see it right here in the center. This position on our work plane is 0, 0, 0. So it's 0 on the X, Y, and Z axis. We want to move this down on the Y axis. So we need to use a block to do that. And before I do that, I want to change the height so it's going to match the shape that I already have, which is the heart. So I'm going to change the height from 20 to 2 millimeters. Then I'm going to go to modify. I'm going to get a move block. So we want to move it down on the Y to negative 11 millimeters. Then we want to move it up on the Z so it's right on top of the work plane. I'm going to press play, and now it's where we want it. Great. So let's move on and create one more part of the leaf, and that is going to be the stem. So I'm going to go up to shapes and grab a box. Drag it underneath till we hear the pop. And then we want to change it to a lighter color green. Now I'm going to click on this arrow here to change the dimensions. So I want to change this from 20 to 1, 20 to 15, and from 20 to 2. So we have 1 millimeter, 15, and 2 millimeters. Now you can't see it, but it is there. It is currently underneath. So we want to move this into the correct place. So go back to Modify, get a Move block, drag it underneath. Now we're going to bring this down on the y-axis. So it's right where I want it. I'm going to do about 24 millimeters. If we're going down, we want to do negative. And we want to bring it up a little bit so that it's right on top of the work plane. Great. And there's one last step. We need to group all of this together, and that will get rid of the seams. Okay? So I put the group there. I'm going to click Reset, press Play, and now everything is grouped, and we have completed a leaf. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to learn how to do a few more cool things with this leaf, please check out one of my other videos. Have a great day.